My name is John McPherson, and I'm the Director of Scholarships and Financial Aid at Ball State University. Alicia's asked me to talk a little bit about scholarships, which I'm going to expand on a little bit because I'm going to talk about scholarships and grants. In financial aid, we tend to talk about both of them at the same time, just because there's really no common definition or break between exactly what is a scholarship versus a grant. So we tend to lump those together. Scholarships and grants are based on a number of things. The general sort of definition is that a scholarship is based on some type of academic merit or talent. So if I'm valedictorian of my high school class, or I have really high test scores, that award is probably considered more of a scholarship, where if I have awards based on an organization in my local community, if it's based on financial need, those are generally categorized as grants. But there really truly isn't a definition that everyone understands, so trying to break those down definitively is difficult sometimes. At Ball State, about 2/3 of students receive a scholarship or grant, and so it is a significant source of aid at Ball State. Some of the scholarships we use at Ball State, for example, one is a presidential scholarship. The presidential scholarship is probably the most widely used by Ball State in the recruitment process. The presidential scholarship pays $4,500 a year. You can have it up to 4 years. And as long as you maintain a 3.0 GPA, it can be renewed each year. Some others have very specific purposes. The presidential scholarship, you can get the presidential if you're in state or out of state. There are some scholarships that are specific, targeted to attract out-of-state students. The presidential scholarship, for instance, is $4,500 a year. You can get it up to 4 years. As long as you maintain a 3.0 GPA, you'll continue to receive that scholarship. And as long as you graduate in 4 years, that's a significant amount of money that goes toward your costs. Now, there are some other things such as grants. Grants, such as the Pell Grant program, is a federal grant. A federal grant that pays up to $5,700 a year. There are state grants. There are state grants such as the O'Bannon, which can pay up to $4,500 a year. And then there are some things that are sort of hybrids. For example, the 21st Century Scholars Award. That award is really based on need.
Hello, my name is Joshua Gilman. I'm from Winnemac, Indiana, and my major is telecommunications within the film variety, and I'm on 21st Century Scholars. Alright, so basically with 21st Century Scholars, you get free tuition in any public college in Indiana, such as Ball State, for example. It's pretty nice because it saves the stress of having those extra financial burdens, so it helps your parents out too. And then you get to apply for it early in like middle school. You get to start planning ahead of time. But yeah, so that's nice too. And then it's not an academic scholarship, but more of a financial scholarship. So if your family is kind of struggling financially and you apply for it, your chances are a little higher than somebody who draws in a lot more income. So yeah.
It's based on students sign up when they're in junior high. If they're on a free or reduced lunch or have a need factor when they're in junior high, they can sign up for that program. As long as they maintain a solid academic core, they stay out of trouble, they can come back at the end of their high school career, sign an affidavit that they've been a good scholar, and then when they go to a public institution, it pays their tuition and fees.
My name is Lauren Bain. I'm from Richmond, Indiana. My major is video production through the telecommunications program, and I have 21st Century Scholars. Basically, I would just say there are definitely drawbacks to be aware of that they don't necessarily make you super aware of in high school or don't seem as important in middle school. Some of the drawbacks of 21st Century Scholars start with the stress it gives you, because it's really like you have to be responsible for your scholarship, and like a lot's on the line because it's like $10,000 a year for tuition. So like you have to maintain a 2.5 GPA, which is like a C average, and while that wasn't super hard in high school, courses are a lot more difficult in college. it's really reliant on your parents in middle school because you have to apply for 21st Century Scholars before you're a freshman in high school. So it really depends a lot on your parents, like, helping you out with it, because obviously when you're 12 years old, you don't know how to fill out these forms. And it's not super, like, there's not a great amount of awareness. It was pretty well publicized at my school, but I knew kids at the local, like, a high school more in town that, like, had never even heard of it. And, like, by the time they needed that information or they were preparing for college, it was too late to apply for the scholarship. So I would definitely say that they should change it so that you can apply for it in high school, too. And another thing, obviously, is you have to make some promises not all college students are prepared to keep, such as, like, you cannot, like, do drugs, you can't drink alcohol, and you can't get arrested.
So that one's sort of a hybrid because it's based on a merit or a talent, something that you have to perform, but it's also based on need. So that's why it's very difficult to say, is something a scholarship or is it a grant? Because many have both components.